Hello, beautiful friends and fellow word lovers. Welcome back to Pocket of Poetry. My name is Olivia, and today I'm going to be doing the repeat rewind tag and giving you guys recommendations of books based on some of my favorite songs. So this is, I believe, called the repeat rewind tag. I got the idea from Olivia Savannah from Olivia's Catastrophe. I'll link her video down below. She did it a couple months ago. But basically she just went through some of her favorite music artists and gave book recommendations based off of kind of the vibe of those artists and those songs. And I thought that was just a really fun idea. I think what you're supposed to do for the tag is go to your repeat rewind playlist on Spotify and then pick books based on the songs that are on your playlist. So I just thought it would be a fun idea for a video. I love talking about music and I love talking about books, so best of both worlds, am I right? So again, I kind of took a little bit of creative liberty with this tag. I didn't just use the songs off my repeat rewind playlist, but I kind of went through and picked out inspiration from the different songs and the different artists that I have on there. So it was actually really challenging for me because I feel like a lot of the music that I listen to, not all of it, but a lot of it, and especially the music that I find myself going back to the most often, has a very similar vibe, and it was really hard to find books that kind of fit into the same vibe, if that makes sense. I feel like I have a lot of songs that are very poetic and a little bit dark, kind of a whimsical vibe to them, I guess. And then so it was kind of hard to find books that match that, but I do have a whole stack of books here, so I'm excited to give you guys my recommendations. Yeah, I think this is gonna be fun, so we'll just jump right into it. Okay, so the first song slash artist that I'm going to be talking about, honestly, this is really loose based on the songs. It's mostly going to be kind of inspired by the artist in general, but the song that was on my playlist is Black Beauty by Lana Del Rey. Lana Del Rey is one of my favorite artists ever, if not my favorite, especially recently I've been listening to her insane amounts. In 2021, she's my 2021 artist. I've just been loving her music lately, and this song in particular, Black Beauty, is one that I just go back to a lot. I just find it really, really beautiful. I love the imagery that she uses in the song. I love how it's kind of a song about a relationship of a love where she wants to be able to help her lover be happy, and she wants him to experience the world and be happy and joyful, but he's just kind of determined to be in this dark depressionist sort of mood, I guess. So the book that I have picked for this, and not just for this song, but again, Lana Del Rey in general, I feel just really matches the vibes of this book. And that book is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I talked about this book back in January because that was when I read it. But seriously, I was so happy when I made the connection between Rebecca and Lana Del Rey, because I feel it just is so appropriate. So if you don't know, Rebecca is a gothic romance. It's a dark story about a girl who marries a guy whose wife has passed away, and she goes to live in this big estate with him, and they kind of, throughout the book, she uncovers the mystery of what happened to his first wife and why there's so much mystery surrounding her, why no one wants to talk about her. So it's a very lush, opulent book. It's written very beautifully. The setting is absolutely gorgeous in this book, and you're really getting this thriller with kind of a slow, creepy sense throughout the book, but you're also getting just gorgeous descriptions of gorgeous things. And I feel that just matches the Lana Del Rey vibe so well, because she uses such lush, beautiful words, and she describes things so well that just puts beautiful pictures into your mind. But her songs, pretty much all of them, have sort of a dark undertone. And they're usually about really dark topics, even though the words themselves and the music itself is very just beautiful and just gorgeous. You're also getting these darker sort of themes and darker messages in her music, and that's kind of how Rebecca is. So I just felt that was a really appropriate recommendation if you enjoy Lana Del Rey's music, especially if you enjoy sort of her more what's the word, cinematic type music, I guess. I feel a lot of her Ultraviolence album is like this in particular, and also other albums too, her most recent release that she just came out with, Chemtrails Over the Country Club. That one also has those just gorgeous lush, beautiful vibes with sort of that dark undertone. So if you like that kind of music and you're looking for a book that sort of gives you that vibe, Rebecca is one that I would highly recommend. On the same lines with Lana Del Rey, I actually wanted to recommend another book. If you have already read Rebecca, or if you're looking for something a little bit more lighthearted and fun and easy, I have this book that I wanted to include in this video. It's called The Lux by Anna Godberson. I haven't read it in a few years. I bought this like a little over probably 2.5 years ago and read it then. But it's a really, really fun story, and it's kind of like a mystery in like the turn of the century in New York City. And I don't know, I just thought it was really fun. I have the first and second book in this series, but I never actually finished the series. And I kind of want to reread it just because I want to see if I want to keep this book or not. But I'm actually going to read you guys the back just because I don't have like the best memory of what it's about. But I'm include it in this video because I feel like it really fits the vibes. So it's beautiful sisters Elizabeth and Diana Holland rule Manhattan's social scene, or so it appears. When the girls discover their status among New York City's elite is far from secure, suddenly everyone, from the backstabbing socialite Penelope Hayes to the debonair bachelor Henry Schoonmaker to the spiteful maid Lena Brown, threatens Elizabeth's and Diana's golden future. With the fate of the Hollands resting on her shoulders, Elizabeth must choose between family duty and true love. But when her carriage overturns near the Hudson River, the girl whose glittering life lit up the city's gossip pages is swallowed by the rough current. As all of New York grieves, some begin to wonder whether life at the top proved too much for this ethereal beauty, or if perhaps someone wanted to see Manhattan's most celebrated daughter disappear. In a world of luxury and deception, appearance matters above everything, and breaking the social code means running the risk of being ostracized forever. The age of innocence is anything but innocent. So it's just fun, you know? It's just like that fun sort of dark mystery with all the fun historical vibes to it as well. So I think I might reread this book, actually. Maybe, I'm not sure when, next month maybe. And then let you guys know like what I think of it now 2 years later, because I've just had this book sitting on my shelf literally untouched for years now. So yeah, I'm gonna see what I think of this after rereading it and let you guys know. Okay, so my next recommendation is actually based off of a whole album. I decided to just go with the whole album instead of one particular song. The album is Cape God by Ali X. Ali X is an artist that I discovered in 2020, and I fell in love with her music. Like, she was my top artist in 2020, and all 5 of my top songs, like that little Spotify like report that it gives you at the end of the year, all 5 of my top songs were from this album in 2020. Like, when I tell you that this was my anthem of 2020, I exaggerate not. Like, it was seriously, I don't know, there's something about the songs on this album that just resonated so hard with me and what I was going through, and just like, I don't know, Ali X just has a way with pop music. It's crazy because she can make these songs that are absolute bops, but that also make you feel things like way more than you want to. I really like her older albums too as well, but this album in particular, Cape God, I was obsessed with in 2020. And the book that I chose to kind of match the vibe of Cape God was The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. You might be wondering if I'm okay after I say that, but The Bell Jar, I read it over 2 years ago, so I don't have like the best, most perfect memory of it right now. But this book, as you probably know, is about a young girl who kind of has this experience going to New York, getting a job, and it's about her sort of her depression slowly worsening over the story until she gets to the point where she's like in a really dark place. And so the whole book is very dark. It's a lot about mental illness, a lot about depression, and it goes into a lot of detail. I remember I listened to this book on audio, and I listened to it a lot during work, because at the time I was like doing this work project where I was just sitting at a desk like answering emails all day, so I was listening to this book, and I remember just having this like weird, numb, sort of disconnected feeling after I finished listening to it, because it really does that to you. Like, it really puts you into that mental space, but it's also a really, really good depiction of depression and of severe like mental health issues. And I feel like this album, while not all of the songs are like super depressing, there's a lot of like happy, upbeat songs on this album. There's also a lot of songs that deal with depression and talk about how depression feels, and kind of I don't know, when I listened to these songs, I just felt very like seen and heard with particular things I had been going through. And the particular songs that off of this album in specific that kind of remind me of The Bell Jar are Madam X, June Gloom, and Fresh Laundry. Those 3 songs in specific are all about kind of like mental health, and they're very upbeat songs. Well, at least Fresh Laundry and June Gloom are both really upbeat, fun, super happy songs, but they're both about being depressed and about feeling like you're kind of like observing the world around you but not actually living, like kind of that feeling. Like June Gloom in specific, it was actually a perfect song for quarantine because she was singing about how it's the summertime but she's stuck inside watching everyone else have fun and like she can't do anything. And that song, it hits, it slaps, it's so good. Anyway, so there's a lot of really good songs on that album, but those three in specific, and especially the song Madam X, that song's actually about a drug addiction, but I feel like it can also apply to like depression. So anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling about that, but that was my second recommendation. So number 3 is actually more inspired by an artist than by a specific song. The artist is Winona Oak. Winona Oak is definitely a less well-known artist. She's someone that I discovered a couple of years back, and she is one of my favorite artists. She's this gorgeous, stunning woman. She's Swedish. She has this beautiful voice. When I first heard her sing, I thought she sounded exactly like Lana Del Rey, but the more I listen to her, the more I can tell she has a very distinct sound of her own, and she kind of has an accent. I love, love, love singers with accents. Like me or anything about the kind of music I like, you know that I love the singer Aurora. She's Norwegian, and she makes just the most gorgeous ethereal music ever. So anyway, I'm obsessed with like those sort of like Scandinavian accents in singing. I just feel like they're so gorgeous. But anyway, Winona Oak has an EP called Closure, and I feel like the songs on that album, as well as a few of her other songs, just match really, really well with the vibes of The Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur. This is a poetry book. If you don't know who Rupi Kaur is, you're probably not super into the online poetry world because she is one of the most popular poets. She has a gorgeous voice. She does spoken word poetry, and she has this absolutely beautiful voice. She's written, I think, 3 poetry books. This is her second poetry volume, and definitely my favorite out of the ones that I own. In this book, she deals with a lot of topics, but one of the biggest topics that she does deal with is heartbreak and love and unrequited love and just relationships that are toxic or damaging. And Winona Oak's EP Closure is all about like toxic, damaging relationships and heartbreak. And she writes about them and sings about them so beautifully. And I feel like if you resonate with any of the songs on Winona Oak's EP, or really any of her songs in general, I'm also thinking in specific of a song called Piano in the Sky that she released back in late 2020. That song is about a relationship that she knows is wrong, but she's staying in it because she's just kind of grown numb and she knows it's gonna end. It's just a really beautiful and really, really sad song. But if you like those vibes, if you like just the gorgeous, heartbroken way that Winona Oak sings, then you will enjoy, I think you will really enjoy Rupi Kaur's poetry, and vice versa. If you like Rupi Kaur's poetry, you should check out Winona Oak because she's an amazing artist. I have another smaller, less popular artist for this one, and it is a specific song. The song is Midas by Scott. Scott is another, like, she's also Swedish actually, singer, and she goes by her last name, her artist name, and she writes gorgeous songs and has a beautiful voice. And there's this one song in particular by her called Midas, and she sort of is singing from the perspective of like the legend King Midas and like the old fairy tale stories. She's singing from the perspective of his lover and what it would be like to be in a relationship with someone who you could never touch, who is always far away from you. And she sings like as this, oh, it's just a gorgeous song. Like literally, if you were watching this video, pause it and go listen to it right now. Like it is just, she just has this voice that's literally like honey, and she sings this beautiful, soft ballad about this forbidden, unrequited love, and it's just gorgeous. And the book that I have for this song might seem a little odd of a choice, but the book is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. For some reason, I get really similar vibes from that song and from this book because both Midas and Dorian Gray have a curse, right? They both have a curse that's also kind of disguised as a blessing. So Midas is obviously everything he touches turns to gold, which at first seems great, but obviously isn't a great way to live. And Dorian Gray's curse is that he never ages. Instead, the painting of him does, and he just stays young and beautiful forever, even though he sins and lives this horrible, corrupt life. So it also seems like a great thing at first, but then over time you realize it's really messing him up. And I feel like the song Midas kind of explores the perspective of somebody who loves him, who loves King Midas, who loves him and worries about him. And I feel like in a way you could write a similar song or a similar perspective about Dorian Gray. Like the song, check out the book. If you like the book, check out the song because they're both amazing. So another artist that I really became obsessed with in 2021 is Hosier. Um, I like kind of knew about Hosier before, but didn't really listen to him a whole lot. It wasn't until early this year that I started listening to him a lot more and becoming obsessed, like so obsessed with his music. I love the song Cherry Wine. I love like I don't know, I basically love all of his music. But I have been listening to Take Me to Church a lot, which I know is like his most popular song that like pretty much everyone knows. But I had a connection to this one with a book that was just way too good to pass up. So with Take Me to Church, the book that I am recommending is On Her Knees by Brenda Marie Davies. I talked about this book in my April TBR video. I'm almost done with it. I haven't actually quite finished it yet, but I'm really close to finishing. And this just applies way too much. So basically, the song Take Me to Church is about religion and religious abuse and toxic religion, and kind of also comparing it to like he uses his like a love story and a love song to compare to religion, and how a toxic relationship can kind of be like religion in some ways, because being in a religion, being in a church, can also be very toxic and can also kind of constitute as abuse as well. And so that's what that song is about. And On Her Knees is a memoir of an amazing woman who survived a lot of toxic abuse in the evangelical church and rose out of it, and sort of is now making a stand against purity culture and against like a lot of shame around sex and trauma and internalized, a lot of really bad toxic internalized beliefs about sex and sexuality that she addresses in her book. So I feel like this just goes along with Take Me to Church so well. If you resonate with that song, if you feel like you relate to it, if you feel like you've been through similar experiences that he talks about in that song, this book you will probably love, you will probably resonate with. I am going to be talking more about this book in my wrap up for April, obviously, but I do just want to say it is a very sad book. It is very, I would say, triggering, especially if you've been through like any kind of religious trauma or abuse. It is triggering. And it's a sad story, but Brenda has such a beautiful way of using her words, and she's so inspirational, and she has learned so much from her past experiences. So check this book out if you are at all interested in that. Okay, I have one more recommendation to do with the song. This song is a song that I have been listening to on repeat and very obsessed with. And that is the song Prisoner by The Weeknd, also featuring Lana Del Rey. I love the songs that they collab together on because I think they just always are really, really good. But this song in particular, I've just been like listening to so much lately because it's just something about it just like makes me feel things. And the book that I have to recommend to go along with that song is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I did finish it and it was amazing. And I feel like, I don't know, this song Prisoner, I think it's like, it's a song about status. It's a song about living in a world that's fake and feeling like your mental health is deteriorating because of it, and feeling like the lyrics are like, I'm a prisoner to my addiction. I'm addicted to a life that's so empty and so cold. And it's like, I don't know, it just, there's something about it that just reminds me of this book and reminds me of kind of like the situation that the characters in this book find themselves in and the things that they have to go through, and just in general the vibes of that song and the vibes of this book, they both made me feel very similar ways. So if you like one, you'll probably like the other, and that's all I'm going to say about it. I am going to talk more about The Secret History in my wrap up, and I'm really excited to talk about it because this book just like, I don't know, kind of destroyed me a little bit. So yeah, I'm excited. That was the last book to music recommendation that I have. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe if you feel like it. I will continue posting videos every Monday and some Thursdays/Fridays, depending on when I get to it. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.